everybody, it's me, the Kadoozie. And here we are, another episode of the Kadoozie Kast, and we are here with my friend and yoga guru. I love the yoga, you guys know that. Kay Kay Clivio. Hi, Kay Kay.
Hi, Sue.
What's happening?
Just a little blissed out from our yoga class that we just took together.
Yeah, let's tell everybody. We're at Pure Yoga on the Upper West Side, where Kay Kay is... You're a teacher, you're a trainer, what else?
Lead teacher trainer.
Lead teacher
is the official title here at Pure Yoga.
Do you get that? Us Bostonians, she's the lead teacher trainer. At Pure Yoga, and we just took an hour hot power yoga.
That's right.
That's right, with the girl who you trained.
That's right, Christy McNeil.
She was excellent, and everybody was very sweaty. Mm-hmm. Well, it's Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, and it was 9:15, and those yogis are serious, man. It was packed.
Packed out.
You know what I was noticing? They were what?
People need their yoga.
They need their yoga because it really works. Especially with the, high-powered people, I find. They like it a lot because it's the only thing that calms them down. You know what I found in there, though, was very funny. The guys were a little... more amped up. I guess that's the testosterone or something, right? I think when I come with you during the day, there aren't as many guys.
Mm-hmm. There's more moms.
Yeah.
But the guys are here on the weekends, and they're in it to win it, for sure.
Yeah, that guy was flipping his towel and jumping up and lifting his leg, and I was like, hey,
standing.
But yeah, they have a lot of testosterone. I guess that's what it is. So yeah. So the guys do it, the girls do it, everybody does it. Right?
Everybody needs yoga.
All right, so I always like to start from the beginning because, first of all, you and I met. We didn't meet in Boston. We met at Pure Yoga.
That's right, on the east side.
You saw me with my Red Sox hat on, and you were like, what's up? That happens everywhere. People always get jealous, too. They're like, I wish I was from Boston because you guys just have, a automatic connection. You're already in. You're
Absolutely.
Automatically in.
Especially when you have the bravery to wear it in New York City.
Right. The balls. I wore my Bruins shirt to the Bruins-Ranger game the other night. So did you, right?
Me too.
Oh, yeah. So we're at end of the playoffs, round 2. Bruins won last night. But those let's talk about that a little bit before. What's up with the Ranger fans?
They're very mean.
Right.
Especially at the end of the game. After we've had some beers.
I've been to Knicks Celtics playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've been to a football but I've never I've heard I've been to Red Sox Yankees World Series, and they bust your balls, they play with you.
Yeah, but those hockey fans, I think, from anywhere, a little more raw, right?
They were out of them. They were literally like when the Bruins goal, I stood up and clapped, and they were like, "Sit the fuck down, ma'am." And then one guy's like, "Have a cheeseburger."
Because you're so tall and you get in the way when you stand up.
I wasn't, and I sat down. I was very polite. I would never be I would never be aggressive in their face or anything. But I was like, "Oh wow, you can't even clap for your own." Mm-hmm. And my friend from Dorchester was with me, Flinny, and she would clock you. Literally, if you really got her mad, I think I wouldn't want to get her mad because she's had some heart of gold. But I think
she kept it under control, though.
And the girl and the guy in front of us were the girl turned around and gave her a face and went in her face.
Same guy.
Yeah, but really, physically in her face,
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Boston.
And what did Flinny do?
She didn't do anything.
All right.
She was cool.
Is she doing yoga now?
No, I gotta get her to come to yoga. People, I don't think understand. Well, they've seen the movies, all the fighting movies. For them to understand, for us to go from the way we grew up to yoga, it's pretty hilarious.
It is.
It's a good way to channel the physical.
I sure wish I had it when I was younger.
Yeah, would have been a good outlet. Mm-hmm. But you would have been called a loser.
Quick.
Yeah. The guy was saying that in front of us in the at the Rangers game. Yeah, he was a horror show. And the girl was...
Hockey fans are. Growing up in the Garden with my mom, hockey fans were always going to the Celtics games and going to the Bruins games. There was nothing like going to a hockey game with the fans. In the old Boston Garden, you'd go down the stairs, and in the little nooks and crannies, they'd just be beating the pulp out of some guy with a Rangers shirt on or whatever the opposing team was.
Well, also because hockey, they encourage the fighting. I did, LB did my, Lyndon Bias did my podcast. Yeah. He was the first one, and he was like, Sue, no, they brought me up from the minors. I got sent down because I was being a punk or something. He goes, they brought me up purely just to fight people for 10 years.
That's amazing.
It's not funny, but it is funny. You have to
Jay Miller was one of my favorite
and he used to
players.
fight.
He was just, he was there. He was like their Thornton.
But they have to be careful. I was watching that last night and it was funny because they were saying that
they seem more careful as they play. They're a little more cautious sometimes.
Well, the ref, an announcer was saying that the ref, literally when they're fighting, the ref's like, did you see what happened to that other guy? Do you want that to happen to you? Like, he has to talk to them while they're in the middle of fighting like children. Yeah, do you see what happened to the other guy? It's crazy. And if anybody knew, like, that's how it was in, like, walking down the street growing up. At least in I grew up in Dorchester. You grew up in Medford, right? Probably the same, right?
Spent a lot of time in Charlestown, though, because that's where my family Mary was originally from. And my dad.
Oh, wow. All right, so we're going to get to that. So let's start. We're going to tell them all about Mary, too, because we love Mary. All right, so you were born in Medford.
Yes.
How many kids? She's all blissed out.
I thought you were telling them, not asking me. Yeah.
You were born in Medford, and you just told me, because we're in room 7, lucky 7, you told me you were the last of...
I'm the last of 7.
That's an Irish
Four brothers, 4 older brothers, and 2 older sisters.
And you're the baby.
And I'm the baby.
Oh, it's funny. You don't necessarily have baby traits.
There was... the closest one to me is 7 years away from me. The oldest one away from me is 17 years.
Oh, wow.
So there's a really big gap between me and the rest of the family. So they were almost all grown up.
So you're almost like an only child.
I was like with 9 parents.
Right. Well, yeah, because usually sometimes you see the tendency with baby kids to be more they like that role, but I find you to be very independent. Where'd that come from?
Mary.
Yeah, your mother. We got to tell. All right, let's tell them about Mary first because they have to know because she's going to keep coming up. Okay, so Kay Kay's mother's Mary. What did she do at the Boston Garden?
She was the vice president of premium seating, and the world should attribute to her that she invented what we now know as premium seating, skyboxes. In the old Boston Garden, she worked there. She started off in the group sales and accounting, and was there for 30-something years and worked her way up. And I used to run the switchboard, like the old switchboard at the garden. That was like my summer job.
When you were how old?
Before there was an automated system ever. I'd like punch it through. She always had me working there during the summer.
And so did you meet all the players and everything?
I would meet all the players.
Yeah?
Okay.
Oh, okay. We had an interruption. That's all right.
We have to go.
I need to. What happened?
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Can you pause it for a second?
All right, so we had to pause for a second there. And I had to make a big executive decision. I was like, should we start from the beginning because we had to change to a bigger room? Because I don't know if the sound will be different because I'm still working on this, you guys. I'm not like a professional. It's just me. And I carry my mic wherever I go. So if this sounds different than the first 10 minutes, it's because we had to move rooms. But this is interesting. So we were in a private room here at Pure Yoga. And one of the teachers came in and she's given yoga to an 82-year-old woman. It's amazing. And so we're in the hot room now because the older woman couldn't handle the heat. So we had to move. But man.
Amazing.
Imagine
and
82.
She works with her, I think, 3 days a week for the past couple of years. Yeah.
I don't think people understand the depth of what yoga... They think it's like chanting or whatever. But what it does is as you get older, your body stiffens. Because your spine is your main thing.
Your spine starts to degenerate. People get osteoporosis, the degradation, how the bones start to deteriorate. Your whole insides start to fall apart like a car. So you have to continually lubricate your joints and move in a certain way that it moves your organs and stimulates the muscle, the health of the muscle tissue and everything. So it's like we only see what we see is reflected to us in the mirror, but the yoga really works from the inside out. It works on a much more subtle body level where it's cleaning out everything internally.
Well, I noticed a total difference in myself from when I started doing yoga, just in my whole spirit and everything. But I've always believed that it's fascinating because our bodies are our houses. It's like where we have to live. Mm-hmm. And so many people eat such junk and don't exercise and don't take care of themselves. And I'm not talking having a nice figure or whatever happens with yoga is definitely a side effect of what the practice is for. The practice is to, but like you said, make it juicy. You always say that in class, to keep yourself juicy. So if you think about it, imagine an 82-year-old body going against gravity, going against.
Yeah, it gets dried out. You have to keep things moving.
Oh, that reminds me of the of the Arrested Development. One of the funniest lines ever in Arrested Development is she said, I would cry, but I don't want to waste the moisture. But yeah, so I don't think people understand the depths of what happens in yoga, like how much it it makes your house, which is your body, this cavity that we have to live in, a more pleasant place to live.
It sure is. Like, and every time you get on your mat, it's like a little house cleaning, a little housekeeping.
Yeah, it's like, and also just the actual process of going to the room, getting on the mat, staying, and also you do it around a lot of people. Like this morning, it was very sweaty. Mm-hmm. So with
60 other people,
60
sweating
people
with you.
And so it's like the idea of like being able to do yoga practice and staying focused in a room like that. Mm-hmm. They say you can bring it out into the world because if you think about how much you get like provoked and people push you around and they don't have space and they get agitated or whatever, the yoga helps you in real life.
It definitely helps you to be a better person. No question.
Well, and also helps you see other people.
Because it gives you clarity.
Cleans up poop. It does when you do the twist. That's the good one.
The twisting is good, right? You got to twist. and if you don't do yoga, if you don't get on your mat, there's nothing else really in your everyday life that you would have to do a twist. Forward bending, yes, but we're always forward bending, right? Our constant shape of our body is we're on our texting and our computer is this big, huge de-evolution of the human body in forward bend. So when we come onto our mat, we get a back bend, we get a twist. We got to move the body in a different way.
Against the natural. Okay, so here I have a question for you. And now we're going to talk about yoga. We'll talk about your childhood afterwards, but I want to talk about yoga because we're into it now because the 82-year-old lady just totally inspired me. Okay, so there's always that theory of whether we do we hold our emotions in our body? Like, I think it's a chicken or the egg. It doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. We hold our body in a certain way to protect ourselves from emotions, or the emotions are in themselves. Which is it?
Everything, all of the above,
right?
And there's certain patterns in your body as well that are genetic propensities towards certain things that have been passed down in your body. Like I remember I was at a wedding or a funeral or something. We were in a church, and my mom and her two sisters were sitting like 3 rows in front of me, and they all had the same hump on their back in the same exact spot. And I can feel it in my body, like try to bubble up underneath from my tissues and like try to create that pattern, and just interlacing my fingers and stretching my arms over my head. I'm like, I'm not gonna end up with that hump.
And you think that's like a physical genetic thing? That
there's that, and then there's the traumas and everything that we've, the environment that we're in, car accidents, whatever we've been through in our life, it gets stored in there. For me, I've been in like 3 major car accidents, and every time some of them are really so impactful that I can feel from even 10 years ago or 15 years ago that I'm still working out some of the impact that was in my body.
Yeah, I don't know if people even know that.
And it's a lot. It's work.
And I broke my collarbones 3 times, and I can see it in my...
We both have the collarbone break, yeah.
I can feel it, the scar tissue.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. So there's all the scar tissue and the fascia that is laid through the entire body.
What is fascia?
Fascia is connective tissue. It's basically like a web that's weaved through our entire body. Mm-hmm. And it is like a web where it catches things, right? So it catches emotions. Most of your emotions sit in your hips and things like that. That's the area you can really store, and low back, and there's a lot of emotion that gets stored in that area, and that's why people are afraid to open their hips, or when they do, they start crying.
Oh my God!
When you're in pigeon, you're just like, why do I want a ball right now?
When I first did yoga, the first time I did it, like the Y, I remember they just had me put my foot in my elbow crease, and my knee in the other one. That's it, just a gentle lift up your knee, and I cried for like 3 days.
Wow.
And then the other day, Friday, when I was here with you, and I was in pigeon, which is you put your knee up on the mat and your other leg is straight behind you.
Mm-hmm. Big hip opener.
Yeah, you came over and you put a little pressure on my lower back. I cried so hard.
It's good. You got to get it out, right?
Well,
you don't want that stuff living in there.
No, and it always makes me feel like more rejuvenated. Like it's like a physical. People judge crying.
You feel lighter.
Yeah, but they judge crying. But
that's because where we're from, so you don't. My mom.
What are you crying for?
Don't cry. Toughen up, buttercup.
Well, that's what she always said to you. Right? Toughen up.
Toughen up, Buttercup.
I'll give you something to cry about. It's great, but it's as we're laughing about it, you were saying like the hump, the trauma, like the idea of being of sadness or any other feeling besides tightness being intolerable for people, generation after generation,
because they're uncomfortable with it. They're uncomfortable with their own emotions. So when other people, when you get emotional, whether you're their child or a friend, or it's you want them to toughen instead of be so emotional and let it out.
But it's because I don't want to feel. It's not your bad.
Right. It's because they're uncomfortable.
Yes, and kids take it like it's their bad or whatever, and it's not. It's that. It's about the person saying it. Don't do it. My Aunt Jerry taught me the best thing ever in my entire life. She said to me, Sue, when you're crying and somebody offers you a tissue, you don't have to take it. How many times I've heard her in my head and I haven't taken the tissue because it's usually the other person. It's not necessarily because you have boogies or anything. As soon as the tear even comes to your eyes, they're like with the tissue and the pocketbook and stop.
Because they're uncomfortable.
Right, but how much courage it takes to keep crying and let the other person soften instead of giving into the... Which is what you always talk about. Like, I love your class. I was just said to you, I'm like, you're the best. You and Jules. I love Jules from G-Move. Did you ever take Jules' class?
I've never taken Jules' class, but I know him as a person and as a yogi, and he's really fabulous. I really enjoy him. I like his energy.
Yeah, he's really funny, and like I had him on the podcast a couple of weeks ago.
You did?
Yeah, because I want people to know about yoga. Like, it's just, it's not like any other exercise because it's circular. It's like it goes like when you go to the gym, you like can stay in your own lane. Like I'm tight, I'm tough.
Well, it's a little hamster on a treadmill kind of thing.
Gym.
Yeah,
because you can keep all the emotions inside the whole time while you're in
You're tightening too. You're not. I mean, in your practice, you want to find the place of balance and everything. So it's not just about stretching. It's about being strong as well and finding everything in yoga, right? And Kay Kay Yoga's motto is balance your life. And the idea of every pose and every one of them is a place of between strength and softness. You can't just be soft or else the pose doesn't work. You can't just be stiff. There's like the place of balance that you have to find. And it's always changing. Because we're always changing, right?
But how much does that in life in terms of like how this, for me, emotionally, the stronger I am internally, the softer I am externally. And it always changes. Like I have boundaries, but the boundaries are never soft. Sometimes I let them in and out. Like I build them up, but they're not always so tight and rigid because who could live like that? The yoga has helped me tremendously with the control, like letting go of the control and how miserable control can make you.
It does. You just said to me when we came into class, I said, I don't know which room I might have to leave because I can't stay if the room fills up. And you said, okay, let's go with the flow.
I'm really learning how to go with the flow, and it's really making me way happier.
Yeah.
If I even think about trying to control stuff now, it makes me really sad. I can feel it in my body. I'm very aware of like what I feel like, and like that whole like growing up.
It doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel good because you already know now what it feels like when it's from the place of flow and when it's led from your heart and more organic and not from your head when you're controlling.
And it's taken, and let me give it the respect and the due that it needs. It's taken years of gentle practice.
Yeah.
Like I don't think people should just all of a sudden let go of all their control because it's too. You have to do a little, then you go in a little, then you peek your head out a little, then you peek it. But the other thing I was going to say about the control is that the most fascinating thing that I've realized about it all is whenever I control things, they say a control freak will control themselves right out of a life. Like, who knows if me and you had to leave the class because it was packed if we didn't go do something better.
That's right. Exactly.
I was keeping myself from lots of better things because I was so busy thinking what I thought, which I made up from nothing. The most hilarious thing is that I made up all these belief systems based on nothing. And I was so adamant about them. I don't even know where I got them. I got them from some crazy survival technique that I got from
some book that you read.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with anything that was organic from my internal, like my own internal compass.
Yeah.
Which yoga has helped me find.
And I think that there's a misconception about yoga and yogis and in the world that there is a balance also between go with the flow and, you know, being totally airy-fairy, which that's not a yogic quality. Being airy-fairy is not a yogic quality. Being very clear and like a warrior type of mind that yogis aren't like out in space. They're very grounded into the earth. And I think there's a misconception about yogis being really kind of, or, you know, yoga being that kind of mystical, weird thing from the 60s that people used to think, you know?
Well, it's funny because as you say that, it's like that's where probably a lot of the fear comes from. People who are like, I like to control, and if I do that, I'll lose complete control.
Yeah.
Which you do a little bit sometimes.
And you have to allow it. It's important. One of the things that yoga's taught me, which is everything at this point, but as I've gotten older and set goals for myself, and you have to set those goals. You have to have visions and dreams, but in that, in setting them, the path along the way, that things shift and change into the shape that they're supposed to be. But you can't manifest whatever you want. Like one of the things, you start to realize, yoga is the science of self-realization, and you start to realize how powerful you are. Mm-hmm. And you start to get in tune with all the tools that you're given, and you start to shape the life that you want to live.
I feel like that's what's happening to me, and I keep saying to everybody, I'm like a little kid, I'm like, I did it on myself. I did it by myself. I did it. People's like, Sue, that's cool. I'm like, I did it by myself. I did it. It's bringing me more joy than any other fame or outside stuff. I'm like, I did that myself. I just kept pushing through it, and the yoga has helped me tremendous to push through the uncomfortableness, the whole and a lot of that I learned from you. I didn't know that I was coming to yoga for that. I just knew it made my body feel really good. But what you were saying about setting the goals, I wanted to say the other thing that I feel like human beings are afraid to, because everything's so out of whack nowadays, that pure, just unadulterated, joyous desire, I feel like people don't allow themselves. Yeah. Because it's all so perverted and diluted and everything.
It's really fucked up.
Right?
It's really, really fucked up. The whole, you know, when I think about my nieces and nephews, which I have 13 of, the world that they live in, and when I, you know, the Vampire Diaries, or all the delusion, this, you know, Gossip Girl, and this whole other way that they see the world, the eyes they see the world through, it's really, it's going to be hard for them.
Yeah.
What do they call it? The me generation?
Yeah. Because and all the empathy and all the stuff that's getting lost because of the technology. Yeah. But if we stay yogis ourselves and give them a little glimpse of it, they are attracted to it. But that whole desire, what I'm finding out is I was so afraid like to want something and be disappointed, or want something and be fucked over. That's everybody's big thing. But first of all, once I realized I'm going to be fucked over, I was so free. Yeah. that's part of life. Right, I was like, and then I can handle it.
How you get the next best thing, though.
Right.
Because you have to be willing to go through that pain.
And be disappointed, which is what we were talking about letting the emotions up. Yeah. But the other thing is I'm realizing that your desires won't always be met. But sometimes for me, just expressing it is the fulfillment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it will manifest as something else down the line.
Yeah.
Something better will always come along, as long as you don't lose hope, as long as you keep your efforts from like align with your highest intention. If you're I want $1 million, right? If the karma behind that is because I want to buy cars, and there's no like whatever, there has to be some kind of, it's okay to want $1 million, but there has to be some kind of karma that comes from aligned with your highest self in that.
Can you explain to you what karma is? Because sometimes people don't know what it is either. Is there any way you can verbalize that?
You know, the word karma itself means action. So it's integrated into our society in a really interesting way, in the way that, because people say it, and even if they've never heard it, I mean, it's not a word from our society, and it is integrated into it. People know it because it's something you just know instinctually. We know that all of our actions have an equal and opposite reaction. Every single one of our actions has a vibratory effect
It's totally
It doesn't
true.
go unpaid.
It's totally true.
It doesn't go unpaid. And you can see it, whether it's instant karma, where it's like you said something and then you see something happen that from exactly what you said. And that happens, I'm sure we've all experienced it in our lives, and that's why we know it to be true.
Well,
Or if it's karma, like, but the thing about karma is you don't do something and think you're doing it so that you get something back.
Right. But there's also
with the intention to get something back. Like, you don't help the old lady across the street so she'll give you $5. You don't help the old lady across the street because you think it'll make you a better person.
And people
help the old lady across the street to help the old lady across the street.
But they can trick themselves into thinking, but it's still this cavity, like we started off talking, this cavity that you live in has to be your home. So you can trick everybody else,
yes.
But you still have to live in that cavity.
And it's aligned with something, and that's, the yoga is a spiritual practice. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, not the other way around. So there's all that kind of, like, our heart just beats. That's what I always say in class, right? Our heart just beats and our lungs just function. We're constantly supported. And that's what we're reminded of in our practice. When we have that control of when we're actually physically trying to control the breath, and it's not just sustaining us, like we don't even have to think about it. We're constantly supported. So within that, there's a mystery in that. There's a mystery in that. There's things that, that's the thing that you have to just surrender certain parts, because there's stuff that we don't know.
But you just talked about control again. We went back to the very thing. Like, I was going to say, the karma, all right, so take it out of the spiritual guru cookie thing that everybody thinks and put it to just a very basic human thing, and think about if you control things, you can make. Like, I've had plenty of times in my life where I've tried to control things and I've actually made bad things happen.
Yeah.
Because I was comfortable in bad things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt. Like, I'm not preaching something that I lived it. I've lived doing something and making it my way, which made it shit because I was comfortable in the shit. And I can take full personal responsibility for that.
One of the things, and I'll tell you this about karma, or what it's thought of in, as far as reincarnation and in the practice of yoga, is that part of why that happens, like your samskaras, the life experiences that keep coming up, that you keep going cyclical in and repeating the patterns. It's when you break them, and in this life, that you won't have to go into them with the next life.
No, and however you come back,
right,
you'll be in a better place.
That's what it's
a little more pleasant place.
Yes.
It won't be as painful. I'm telling you, I could have read all the stuff you could have told me. I'm living it.
Yeah.
Because, and I am a true believer, and everybody knows this about me, that most of it is an aversion to love, because the love is there all the time, and human beings somehow have transformed it into just pain being more important.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you were just saying about the breath and the beat and the heartbeat beating, love is the same exact thing. It's always there for you. And sometimes it scares the fuck out of me when I see, like, my body vibrates so much.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I'm like, I don't even know of space and time. That's how much my body's vibrating and just moving on itself. And I'm like, and then of course, what do? Slow it down. Say I should be worried. I should pay attention. It's a lifelong practice.
Trick yourself.
Yeah. The old stuff starts coming up. But I literally can feel my body vibrating from love, from the stuff that I get back from people.
Yeah.
I mean, the text, the love that I get, and it's not baloney. It's not like...
It's not baloney.
No.
Everybody just wants to be loved, Sue.
It's crazy and seen and respected, and like I said, but it goes back to who has the courage to not take the Kleenex? Who has the courage to continue crying and be like, no, you simmer down, I'm going to cry, and you're going to learn my way, because this is better for all of us. The softness is better. But how much courage it takes to be soft.
Yeah.
No, who talks about this? I see it in my niece. My niece loves it. She cried. I went home for her communion, and she literally was like, please don't leave, please, like crying. Oh my God, please don't leave. And I brought her in the other room, and I sat down with her, and I just said, listen, I said, I gotta go home to work, and she was moving, and I was like, and you're gonna.
How old is she?
She's gonna be 9 in August. And she's like, I said, and you're gonna be moving, and And she's like, can't you just go to Nanny and Bubba's for the week and then come back, please? And I didn't squelch her. Like, I didn't get so scared that, I think that I had to be so responsible. And I just sat with her and I explained to her and I said, I'll be back. And then guess what? All she needed was for me to sit with her for 5 minutes. She didn't need me to turn my life inside out for her. She didn't need me to tell her to stop crying. I just sat with her for 5 minutes and talked to her. And I was like, you're so good with her. I'm like, oh, it's really not that hard. Switching all my plans and like, I telling her to stop crying or having a fight or something would have been a lot harder. But it's crazy how much of a journey it takes to just be. Okay, so
that's a lot of battles in between.
Yes, and we have to, from that moment, that's a perfect moment to go back to Memphis.
Back to 70 Traincroft.
What is it?
Back to 70 Traincroft.
70 Traincroft is where you grew up?
Yeah.
So you were the only one in the house when you were born? Or
No. Everyone was there when I was born.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
When I was a baby. So I mean, talk about loved. I received a lot of love.
Were you a surprise?
Yeah. What do you think? My mother had 6 children before. And there's 7 years between me and my sister that's closest to me.
So you were a surprise.
I was a mistake, a surprise, whatever you want to call it.
No, a surprise. A lovely surprise.
Yeah, but I got a lot of love and unconditional love. I'll say that from a very honest place. As much fighting as went on in the house, always 7 kids, 1 bathroom. And we're all going to school at the same time. All right, I don't want to be gross, but I'm going to be gross because I think people have a problem with this everywhere, with too much, too little. Did that cause you to have a hard time physically pooping? No, it would be like one person in the shower, one person brushing their teeth, another person on the toilet.
And so in your adult life, you didn't have any problems with it? I'm very shy.
Yeah, I know. We've talked about that before. No. I feel comfortable anywhere.
That's a tribute to you. Because I feel like a lot of people have that problem in life. They don't talk about it. But a lot of art is made. They do a lot of art with poop and everything. And I think it's because we hold on, we let go, we don't, people control it.
Yeah, it's something that some people are uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
Whatever in their life has made them uncomfortable.
Anal.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it's called anal. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, so 6 people.
So there's I think I get an openness from that. Like a natural, I never did yoga until I was 23, but a little bit of a natural born yogi. I always say my parents didn't know their yamas are niyamas, but
What's a yama or a niyama?
It's all the ethical codes. It's kind of like the 10 Commandments, a little bit of yoga, but they were just such good people. They lived by those ethical codes.
So there's ethical codes, which I think is missing in our society too. Like people are afraid to have integrity and everything.
Yeah.
Because they just act out all the time because nobody has any idea. And I'm telling you, if I thought people were happy, I'd be like, whatever, do what you want.
Well, it's the parental upbringing as well. Why people lack of
generations
parental upbringing. What I see on the 7 train is pretty radical.
Meaning?
The way that what I see on some of the trains and buses, the way that people talk to their children, treat their children. I mean, how does that child even have a chance?
Well, I think that, but then I think, look at us.
I know.
I'm of the belief that, yes, parents are just people that we move through. If we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, sometimes I think too much pressure gets put. I'm saying this now. I wasn't always like this, but too much pressure gets put on parents. You could have stinky parents, but then change the whole dynamic through yoga.
You could, absolutely.
It just makes it a tougher road for the kids, but who knows if that's their journey from their karma from their last life. Mm-hmm. Not that any child should ever be treated, believe me. I can't tolerate it, and I think everybody has a problem with it because children are so vulnerable. But you want to talk about the unbearable lightness of being,
mm-hmm.
We're talking about people telling you to stop having feelings. A kid is just pure love.
Right.
So what does the first adult do? Stop it, because you're showing me how much I shut down my own love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's deep shit, man.
It's deep shit. Deep Thoughts with Sue and Kay Kay.
Well, because I used to be so overwhelmed. I used to think, if people disappoint me, what if I see that people are gross? What if I see that people hurt people? How am I going to survive? And now something has happened inside of me that I'm like, it's my job to not get pulled down by that. It's my job to show whatever level I can show. To be light.
Yeah.
To not save the world.
Yeah. We all do it in our own little way. If everyone can do like you do it through making people laugh and being living from your highest place. And that's if anyone could do anything, talking about fundraising, or and you do that with your position of power as well. I'll teach a yoga class where we can all do something small, and every little small thing adds up to something bigger. Like we're all
when people want to be inspired, they don't want to be oppressed. They don't want you to be the boss and take all their money and steal from them. They want you to feel comfortable enough to inspire them to do the same thing, to keep it going, to not be scared that there's not enough. People love it. They would think I was crazy with my one-woman show. If not, people are like, yes. And I'm like, there's plenty. I got plenty inside. I have plenty inside to give now that I've took care of myself. I used to give before I took care of myself, and that was not fine. Because that would make me grumpy.
That's kind of the process, though. You're like, that makes me not feel good. That does make me feel good. I think I'm going to keep, and that's part of getting older and wiser and whatever. I'm going to not do that anymore because it doesn't make me feel good. And I'm just going to do the things that do.
And when we say feel good, I mean feel good generally, not get high.
Right.
Because there's a big difference.
There is a big difference.
People think getting high with, what's it called when you're...
I mean actions. Yeah.
Hedonism is not feeling good.
No.
Feeling good is like feeling it all.
Feeling it all.
Being grounded. What did you say? Being grounded, not hippy-dippy. Being very aware of the world.
Yeah.
But how the heck... Okay, now we need to know how the heck did Kay Kay Clivio go from...
St. Joseph's?
Being an awesome surprise. St. Joseph's. What, St. Joseph's was your grammar school or where you were born?
It was my grammar school.
I went to St. Lane's.
What color was your plaid on your...
Green and blue, that whole...
Sounds nicer than brown and yellow.
Oh.
It was awful.
Oh, I went to Mount St. Joseph and we had brown and yellow. Is there a connection?
I don't know. I don't think so.
We had the brown and white plaid skirts and yellow shirts.
And yellow shirts. And then when we were in 7th grade, we upgraded from, because they had the thing on the front.
Yeah.
When you were 1 through 6, the jumper.
Yeah.
And then when you went to 7th and 8th, you got the vest, the brown vest.
And tell me, did you guys, because this is what we did, because wearing a uniform, I guess there is something good about wearing a uniform.
Fold it over and make it shorter.
If you don't have money, it's good for the parents to not have to deal with all that kind of like buying all the clothes. We still have to do it. But to express yourself with the uniforms, we would flip our collars in, we would wear t-shirts underneath, we would flip up, we would wear socks scrunched down, we would do whatever we could do.
Totally.
You guys did too. Yeah, because I felt like that was that Catholic, I don't know about you, but the Catholic school was very impressive for me. It never worked for me.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of nuns. And they're not around very much anymore. But
I feel like because they weren't, whatever is not growing.
I can honestly say I didn't have very many, I think that there's a lot of teachers in the system, and I see with my girlfriends who I went to grammar school with are in the Boston public school system now.
Yeah, the girl I met was the yoga class,
They're wonderful teachers, and they are inspiring. I didn't have those teachers when I was growing up. I really didn't, and the nuns weren't very inspiring to me. They didn't make me want to...
But this is what I'm saying. Like,
make me want to learn math. No.
But look at you now. Like, I'm of the belief that no matter what, you can overcome things. And I mean, there's people that have had, lost limbs, been burned. Yeah. What about that guy that got paralyzed and he was burnt in a fire and he's still like asked the girl to marry him? And she married him.
That's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I think he was paralyzed first, and then he was burnt in a fire, and he was in the ICU, and he said, "I'm going to ask that nurse to marry me." And his friends were like, "Oh
my
honey."
Gosh, from the ICU?
They were like, "No, don't." They were having all the shame projecting onto him, and guess what? She married him.
That's awesome.
Oh, he's like, I'm of the belief, like, who are we to say how it's all supposed to go down?
Absolutely.
Because when we say how it's supposed to go down, look at everybody. They don't look so happy.
Yeah. The keeping up with the Joneses thing is definitely not for me.
Yeah, the nuns were. I remember one specific memory of high school where Sister Cajetan, we were down doing our Catholic youth
organization stuff.
We had to do a couple of hours of that where we would go to the nursing home, and we went up to the room, and she's like, "Take out your homework." And I remember saying to her, "Sister, we don't have our school bags." And she was shaking, like spitting. Miss Costello, you're the boldest, freshest girl I've ever met. You go to the principal's office right now. And I remember, I can physically still remember walking into the principal's office so defeated. Mm-hmm. And the principal saying to me, what happened now?
They beat you down.
And I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't even do anything. All I told her was she wanted us to do our homework, and I told her that our school bags were downstairs.
Mm-hmm. It's traumatizing.
Oh, I just remember my body giving in. I remember physically my body just giving in, like, why bother? Mm-hmm. That reaction. Just something that was so rational, right?
I get that. Yeah.
They just didn't want you to do anything.
Yeah, they weren't having so much fun with it.
They were horny. I do a joke about that on stage because I think.
What is it?
I don't about like Sister Timothy. It's a joke that I over exaggerate to clarify, but we were freshmen in high school, Mount St. Joseph, pure as a driven snow because we're all Catholic, afraid to even talk about sex or anything. And they were always like a little perverted about the way they talked about sex. And I said, Sister Timothy, I had big, huge boobs. We used to call her torpedo tits. And she would put her boobs like rub them and put them on the podium. So now you're very yes. And now we're all aware of her rubbing her boobs. And and I always joke that she would be like, listen up. I know what you guys are thinking, and you better stop it right now. All you do is think about going down the park, putting your legs up in the dashboard, and having the boys lick your pussies. And we were like. No, but that sounds like a good idea. Whoa. She wouldn't say something that graphic.
Okay.
But the idea that they would put it in our head before we even knew about it in a perverted way is the point of the joke. And then, believe me, they would project so much weird. You're like, I wasn't thinking that.
Yeah. Well, when you take that away from a person, and they don't have any sex at all, and they're all, for the most part, really homely. They let themselves go.
I was going to say, we're talking about drying out.
Yeah.
And I'm not being gross. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
Like sex
Sure. No, it is a natural human function.
We were born with it.
Yeah.
People think we were born with it just so we could say no.
Yeah.
That's the most craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
You can nurture it and treat it with respect and everything, but still, you want to talk about desire. Let that desire flow and not act on it, and you're still going to be pretty happy.
I can honestly say I don't remember one nun that was happy.
No. Or loving, or hugged you, or anything. I remember one.
This person of God.
Like white. She looked dead. She literally did. God bless them.
God bless
them. Well, there's a reason why they disappeared, though. Why are they disappearing?
All right, but the yoga room's becoming, and not that there's anything, I'm very grateful for how I was brought up and my Catholic faith and everything it gave to me at the time and all that it made me question too.
Well, take what you like and leave the rest is really good because there is something about.
But I think the yoga room's becoming more.
The yoga, it's
I see it. I've seen it. I've taught yoga in Hawaii and in Boston. I owned a studio in Boston, and in Hong Kong and in New York, some of the busiest cities in the world. And the yoga room has become like people's churches, where they find peace.
It from internal though, and nobody's pushing it on them.
Yeah. No one's reading them a sermon. They're just finding it within themselves where it is anyway.
So you go to St. Joseph's and you work in the switchboard at the garden, and Mary's creating the world. Now, Mary had 7 kids, and your dad died when you were how old?
He just died 3 years ago.
So he was part of this whole when she created all the...
Yeah. My family owned Sunnyhurst Dairies. My uncle created Sunnyhurst Dairies. Before there was ever Hood or these big milk people, my uncle from Italy, my father was from Italy, my uncle from Italy, was very industrious. And they were all milkmen. My father's side were all milkmen. They lived in Charlestown. Milkmen. Yeah, proper milkmen that delivered to your back door the milk. And they drove milk trucks. That's what my dad did growing up, and my Uncle Mario. And my dad was they were like one of the only Italian families in Charlestown that grew up in Charlestown at the time. But my uncle created this Sunnyhurst Dairy. He got an investor. One of his best friends was Rocky Marciano. Yeah. And he got Rocky to be sponsored by, and was in all the ads at the time. So it was very popular. And my dad worked at the plant when I was growing up, like the milk plant where they homogenized the milk and had the whole line. It was in Stone. And I'd go visit him at work. So my mom didn't work until after, when I was in first grade, she went back to work. When I was in first grade, she went back to work, and I'd go to all the games, you know, starting in like fourth grade.
But she became like a legend.
She is a legend,
right?
Without a question, she's a legend.
Because she created all the what's it called? The priority seating.
She's just she's such a ball of fire.
She is,
and just a wonderful human being. And she always wants to help. She wants to make things. She wants to connect people. It's just like a natural ability of hers to want to connect people and bring people together and make people happy. She's had 7 kids. She's very into nurturing and hosting and taking care of people. So when, I forget what year it was, but before there were ever skyboxes, it was one of the playoff seasons, and it was always 9,000 degrees in the Boston Garden because there was no air conditioning system. And it was during the playoffs, the ice used to steam, and during the NHL playoffs. And
how come they built it with no air conditioning? Does anybody know?
The building was just, I don't think they had any air conditioning at the time.
When they built it?
When they built it, yeah. I don't know when the original garden was built, but before air conditioning, for sure.
That. They're going to be emailing us. What's wrong with
you? So, whatever year it was, my mom brought the idea to the table for the playoffs. You know, we have this whole other floor above the balconies of open space. We should sell them to Pepsi Cola, Coca-Cola, Budweiser, see if they want to buy group packages, because she was in group sales at the time, and said to see if they want to buy group packages. We could put some chairs in there, and we could get support service up there and give them a special package deal, whatever, and they could get served and watch the game from a box and have their own people in there and get served the liquor and food and whatever from downstairs.
And that was how it all started.
And that's how it all started. It is a trial, and now that's what all arenas are built off of. They're like, that's where they make the most money.
So Mary Clivio, hot ticket. Retired how many years ago? 2 years ago?
2 years ago, 1 year after my dad passed.
What was her title when she retired?
She was the vice president of premium seating. And they gave her She was at I won't say, because she would kill me if I said out loud how old she is.
Okay.
But let's say I'm 40. I'm not afraid to say how old I am.
Okay.
But she would be at every single game, every Celtics, every Bruin game till the end. Be like one of the last people to leave the building, because she wanted to make sure everybody was okay in every box. So she would go around to every single box, every game, and make sure everybody was doing okay. And her interaction, like, she's getting tickets for this one, let's bring so-and-so into this box, so-and-so is down in box, whatever. Just the hostess with the mostess.
Because she cared, but
she does care. She really does.
People. It was enough. There was enough.
Yeah.
And look what she got back. So when she retired, everybody was there, right?
Everybody. Her party was pretty awesome at the garden, what they did for her. Menino was there.
Menino was there?
Menino was there.
What about some of the players? Were they there?
Cam was there. Mike Milbury was there. Who else was there?
Oh.
Yeah, it was really special. Ray was there. Ray and she are very good friends. Ray Bork,
yeah.
He's a really great guy.
LB's a great guy too.
He is. I know LB. I used to work at, what was it? In Malden. I think he was part owner of it, and he used to always come in.
He's such a good guy.
Yeah.
Yo, Hardy! Anything for you! He's a dog. They're all, I don't know, maybe there is that sensitive, tough guy thing that goes on. All right, so you went to St. Joseph. I have to get to before we could talk for hours.
I know, we do sometimes.
I know.
Now it's just being recorded. So.
Well, I want to know, okay, so you started, when did the yoga come in is what I want to know.
The yoga came in. I was always an athlete. And the yoga came in.
What did you do for the athlete?
I was always a swimmer from when I was before I get my arms over my head, they just threw me in the pool.
Cool.
And I swam my whole life. So when I was in Hawaii, I paddled a Hawaiian outrigger canoe.
Why were you in Hawaii?
I moved out there right after high school.
just move there for no reason, or did you?
My sister, my oldest sister,
the 17, the one that's 17.
so, yeah, she's 16 years older. Moved there when I was 4. So I used to go see her a lot, and that's why all my friends, when it was the years before senior year, I always wanted to move there. Even before I graduated high school, I wanted to move there. So everyone was going to Providence or going to BU or going to Bentley. And where are you going, Kay Kay?
Hawaii.
I'm going to Hawaii.
See you later. It's not going to Hawaii.
Yeah. And I just love to be with nature. I love to be in the ocean. And I started paddling Hawaiian outrigger canoe, and I loved it. It was really a spiritual, like for me, that sound, like being out at sea and the sound of the ocean, the rhythm of what we were doing. I loved the camaraderie of the teamwork that it took to move a boat properly. And
yeah, the synchronicity. You can't go up.
Mm-hmm. And it was just a great way to be in the water.
I was thinking when you just said that, do you think that there's a time in nature where our heartbeats and our breath match with something like that?
Mm-hmm. I do.
There is, isn't
I think it's the same. I think that's what the yoga is. I think that's what the yoking is. I think that there's a bigger rhythm. That everything pulsates. Everything in nature pulsates, as do we, from the beat of our heart. And it's hooked into the bigger rhythm of everything else around us.
So did you learn that in Hawaii?
No, I feel like I'm still just learning that now. Like, to be able to verbalize it and say it. I think that we all know that in our hearts.
We all know that.
Right. And we always say in our heart, right? We know. When you know something and there's no explanation for it, I know it in my heart. Because there's a mystery that lies within there that when you know something.
Sometimes when I'm doing yoga, like you'll think like, oh, I don't have time for yoga. That's where things come to me so clearly, where I'm like, oh, I'm going to write that, or I'm going to tell that person that, or I'm going to, if I don't know something, I'll let it sit, and then I'll be in yoga class, and it will just come purely to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the yoga doesn't have to be down dog for everyone. It's like, there's a practice for everybody. It can be just sitting and breathing.
People are afraid to do it because when they sit and breathe, they hate themselves.
Right, a lot comes up.
Yeah.
When we're still. But the mind starts to go.
But if it comes up, it'll go out. If not, you're pushing it down. It's like a fire in your belly that's burning you to the ground.
Totally.
But if you let it come up, even if you just do it for a minute and then 2 minutes, my favorite thing now is like I can feel my body and I'm like, I need to go be by myself. I need to sit down. I'm like,
it tells you
how did that
what it is
happen?
we need.
How did that happen?
Because we get disconnected from that.
Yes, by worry, by greed.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, when you said that if you say you want $1 million, it should be for something. I was reading in the New York Times, in the New York Magazine, Al Gore was saying somebody wanted him to do this job. And he was making tons of money, but it was just to make money, and he didn't want to do it. And I thought, see? People know.
Yeah, totally.
People always like,
It's nice to have to be in a position where you can make that decision, too. I mean, he's not...
Well, yeah, he was talking about just making more and more gluttonous money. They say that people after $50,000, their happiness level never goes up.
That's interesting.
I totally believe it. Because they think that money's going to cause them to be safe. It doesn't. It causes more
money, more problems.
Yeah, so people want to work you and you pay them off and all these weird, uncomfortable, awkward, gross feelings happen and you get home and you think, your kids, you buy them shit instead of sitting with them. It's very easy to push it all away, but then you're home and you're like, why am I still so unhappy? Because it's all internal. The only way out is through.
The only way out is through. For sure.
Okay, so you're Hawaii, so then you started teaching?
It was in 96, and I got an injury from paddling. And somebody just kept saying, Bikram yoga, Bikram yoga. It started coming up everywhere. That was kind of all there was available in Hawaii.
What was the injury?
A low back injury.
Yeah, Bikram.
I had a really bad car accident that I think it was from before that re-injured, and I've been doing sports my whole life, so I've broken, sprained, twisted everything in my body at least once, and I use the practice to kind of heal pain in my body on a pretty daily basis. So I went to Bikram yoga, and it was in a tiny little studio. You can only fit like 14 people. The woman, Denise Marie Luco, was in her bathing suit, and she couldn't move around the room because there was no room for her to move around the room, so she would sit in the corner in her bathing suit and say the Bikram dialogue. And that's the first training that I went to 5 years later.
And I don't think I didn't go at that time with the intention of like, I'm going to be a yoga teacher. I went with the intention that, God, I just really want to go do 2 classes a day and learn more about yoga. And why, I mean, because I was, first I would go 3 times a week, and then I just want to do it every day. And I would not do, and believe me, I wouldn't, every once in a while I go to a Bikram practice.
Me too.
Every once in a while.
It's too dehydrating.
It's really dehydrating. I think 90 minutes is a long time in the hot room, especially nowadays, having done so much of it.
It's very rigid too.
It is. It's very rigid. And you do have to learn some of the rules before you break them, and they say it's a beginner yoga class. But it teaches you the basics, and it does teach very good basics of yoga. But it's just, it's really vast.
And there's nothing like sweating your body and wringing it out.
It is. It is. There's not enough twisting in Bikram either, as far as I'm concerned.
It's very linear. It's the same idea. There's not much.
I want to twist.
Yeah.
I like twisting a lot.
I'm not surprised since you have no problem. Me, I'm like, hold on, not too fast. We control it. My hip flexors are really tight from being in fight or flight my whole life growing up.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Some of it's from my collarbones, but my hip flexors from
But
being
see what the mind,
scared.
see how the mind sends that signal to the body, and the body just tightens. Like I can feel so open one day, and sometimes just something will happen that will repeat a pattern of some kind of, however I was thrown in any of the car accidents that I was in, or it just goes back and slips back into that memory, and all that tissue just takes on that memory of being tight.
As soon as the brain has it.
As soon as the brain has it. Yeah. It just feeds it right into it. So the idea is like just letting go of that.
When the
thought.
they say, well, that's what they say in meditation.
Letting go
When
of
the
the
thought
thought.
comes up, let it go. When the thought comes up, let it go, so you can have peacefulness in the mind, which relaxes the body, which leaves you open for the love and less pain. It's so, I mean, people have been saying it for years. There's magnets on refrigerators and everything, but to actually live it is insane. And the way that I've lived it is to, let go, be free, all the things that they put up. It's like, yeah, that's nice, but how do you do it?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm so happy about that I get to do in my life, is to give people the tools, all the tools that my teachers have given to me, and the practice that I get to share that in the yoga room, my interpretation of what that is, to give it to my students.
Okay, so
wants to listen.
Before we wrap it up, I want to talk about what it is you do. So you teach at Pure.
Yeah.
You have your own podcast.
I do.
What's it called?
KK Yoga.
KK Yoga.
KKYOGA.
KAYKA
No,
what?
just KK.
Oh, KK
Yoga.
Yoga. Where can they find it?
On iTunes.
iTunes. So if they Google iTunes,
They can go on the search on iTunes, and it will say the initials KK and then YOGA.
and we got to give a shout out to Patrick, my boy Patrick. He's doing
Patrick.
your podcast for you too.
Thank you, Patrick.
He's growing his business.
I put one up yesterday.
You did?
And
Because
people and I said, take it with you on vacation, because a lot of people from Pure move away, or they'll go away for the summer on the weekends, and they don't get to come to class. So I said, take me with you. And I've gotten a bunch of response already, like, I did it was so great. One person was like in San Francisco that's already moved, and I miss taking your class. I feel like I got to take your class, and yeah, it's really a nice
So they can
service
play it
to
on
be
the
able to
computer
use.
and do the moves at home.
Yeah, it's audio, and I give very clear instructions. So,
But also, I just have to give a shout out, not because you're my friend. You truly are one of the best yoga instructors, and it's the way that it flows is the only way I can describe it. There's no disruption. I don't know how to describe. I mean, I don't want to have to describe it, because I think that's how cool it is. That when I take your class and after your class, I feel like $1,000,000, like rah. It's because what you talk about. But the flow of it is not, it's just not interrupted. There's no interruption in a straight hour. There's no, I don't even notice other people in the room with me. That's how good you are. Which is why I wanted to have you on the Kadoozie Kast, because it's hugely popular. Because I want to tell people about your retreats, because I'm going to try to go to the one in Hawaii in February.
yay! You have to come. I want you to come.
So it's February. I'm going to
It's
figure out.
February 15th to the 20th. It's in Maui, at a beautiful place called Lumeria.
And what do? We do yoga and surf?
Do yoga, and then you can do anything during the day. There's all kinds of different things that they'll take you excursions that they'll take you on. We'll go on hikes for sure.
Yeah, I've never been to Hawaii. I want to go.
Stand up paddle boarding.
Yeah, I want to try that. Everybody's
But yoga in the morning and yoga in the evening. Like a vigorous vinyasa class in the morning, and in the evening, more restorative practice.
Yoga in the morning, yoga in the evening, yoga at dinner time. And so they can come see you at Pure Yoga, the KK Yoga on iTunes. What else? Do you have any Facebook page?
I'm teaching at Wanderlust in June. It's in Vermont. It's super fun. It's yoga, music, and art.
Oh, cool.
And me and probably 25 other yoga teachers. And there's different things that, different awesome music that they have in Stratton, Vermont. 20th through the 23rd.
And you also teach privates too, if somebody wants a private, so she can pay extra special attention to your.
And I'm always happy to align with any great causes and teach a class for a great cause to raise money.
If you have any cause that you need help, and also we're gonna do one where we do comedy and yoga.
Yes, we are.
We're gonna figure it out. I think we're gonna do it for Boston.
We have to do it
start
for
off
Boston.
with Boston, right?
We can do it here for Boston and raise money. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, we can get Pure to.
And then we'll grow it and do it up in Boston.
Yes.
And we'll get all our friends, all the people we just talked about.
I've been trying to talk them into giving me the parquet someday
What's
to
the
do a yoga
parquet?
class in the garden.
Oh really?
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah. You did it at the Mets game before, right?
I do it twice. I've done it twice at Mets Stadium.
You just teach yoga. You've done. We've tried out Bryant Park. I've come there.
Mm-hmm. It's kkyoga.com.
Yes.
And there's a little thing underneath, a little banner with like my YouTube channel, with my I don't think the podcasts are on there, but a bunch of different links.
Ask
Facebook,
Patrick to put
all
it
that
up
stuff.
there.
Yeah.
So there's a link there to the podcast. Patrick will do that for you. He's good like that. Now, okay. So and also they can just. Is there a way to email you so in case they have questions for you?
It's on the.
It's on there, so they can just get in touch with you. I'm telling you, you guys do it. She's awesome. And if we sounded a little relaxed, it's first of all because we love each other, but also because we had an awesome yoga class. So
I do love you, Sue. I'm really glad that I've met you and that the universe brought us together.
Me too. Boston representing. All right, this is the Kadoozie over and out.